listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. This is your host, Spencer, joined, as always, by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Man, I need you to talk me down. I need you to talk me out of buying Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. It's the latest. It's the sequel to Snow Runner, sort of, where you drive around in off-road trucks and deliver things. But there's some tweaks to it. I've been watching some videos online. Help me not spend $60.
I don't think I can, man. Sounds like a sound investment there.
You have a drone now. You have a drone in this one. You can launch a drone and fly around, check out the terrain in front of you. You can deflate your tires, get better traction. All sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk Texas Tech stuff.
We do. We have lots of Texas Tech things to talk about. There was a basketball game tonight, which we will react to. There was a basketball game on Saturday we'll react to. 2-0 this week. 3 days. 4 days. Got a perfect baseball weekend. 3-0 there. You won today in baseball. So if those are the sports you're paying attention to right now, you are perfect since we last saw you. Women's basketball, not so much. Their regular season has come to an end. They had finished on a 9-game skid. They are, well, they've also been without some key roster pieces for quite some time too. Like they've been playing shorthanded, but still playing the games. TCU, looking at you, canceling, forfeiting games when you were down to eight girls. Our Lady Raiders kept to it, played their schedule. But yeah, we got the biggest thing I think we're all keyed in on, Michael, is actually football related.
I thought you were going to talk about the food draft.
Oh,
that's the biggest thing.
Yet. We're not there yet. That's basketball related.
I was showing my Big 12 tournament.
I've
made notes.
Wow.
I'm not showing you too much because I don't want you to know where my picks are going to be. Because I'm going to be crossing them off once we get to this. Just quick, I mean, a surprise to no one, I'm sure, but we are going to draft all of the Big 12 foods that they are debuting at the conference tournaments in Kansas City for the men's and women's basketball teams. So every school is represented by a food. The conference itself is represented by its own food.
Saw that.
And we'll go through there and pick a draft at the end of the show. So probably a lot of you are just going to fast forward to that. That's fine. That's cool.
If you're consuming the show on YouTube, there will be notes, links to that spot when we get there.
Okay.
When that conversation shifts.
Yeah,
until though
photos came out, which
certainly
changed
helped
my opinion a little bit on the couple.
It did. It was like some of the things sounded good. Then I saw photos like take it or leave it.
But it also completely solidified my bottom pick. I had already made I'd gone through and ranked them 1 through 15. Like I said, there's one for the conference.
I did not.
So that I can keep up with it.
That's smart.
When we draft, and then the last place remained last place. Just looking at the photo confirmed it. So we'll get there.
Can I ask one? Just like your last place, is it the Big 12 dog?
It is not.
Ooh. Okay, so we're not going after the same last place. That was the thing. I was like, it's not. Didn't catch me. I'll have to go back and as we go through it. So I lost you there, but then it came back. So hooray, Riverside and the computer worked out.
I just kept talking, so it should be okay.
Yeah, I was like, well, here we go again.
Yeah.
It came back.
I saw you give me the look, and I thought, oh, no.
I was so frustrated. This thing is irritating me. So football, the double T scoreboard is in place. I know we've all been keeping tabs on that progress. Basketball, these games heading into the your final regular season game. I'm blanked on that. Do you want to talk about Brock Cunningham anymore?
I didn't see what he did
I'd
Monday
love
night.
to dunk on him.
Sure. I mean, the floor is yours, my friend.
And it's another opportunity to dunk on Fran Fraschilla, who defended him vehemently. And then again, found, actually, that's going to be a flagrant. Just backed that truck right on up. Beep, beep, beep. Yep. It's Fran Fraschilla backing up Brock Cunningham, only to then find out dude's going to get ejected for his second time in 3 games. And Fran's just over there lapping it up. There's baseball. So we're going to talk about a little bit about Gardner-Webb this past weekend, and then conference play starts this upcoming weekend on Friday. Texas Longhorns are coming into town. We'll talk about that. So football. Let's just talk about the Big 12, not the Big 12, the double T scoreboard real quick.
We're we are the beacon of the Big 12.
The new Big 12, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the shining Big 12. We are the city on a hill. The double T can be seen
apparently everywhere in Lubbock
from Provo.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, except for the Rocky Mountains on which divide us, but
fair.
You can see it from Albuquerque.
There you go. Yeah, UNM could see it today as they lost in their own house.
They got trounced. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so obviously the structure itself, the backbone of it, the outline, the foundation, well, much more so than just the foundation. The bones of it are in place. So it's a pretty formidable structure of the south end zone now. You can see it. You get a sense for the scale of it. It's going to block in that south end zone even more so. But you had the 2 towers on the corners. They're up. And then on top, they were stacking it. The double T scoreboard was going up, and everybody was like, well, antsy there for a second. Is it going to be beveled? Going to be a flat double T?
Mm-hmm.
Fans of the classic flat double T will be enthralled that that's the option they went with. It's a 2-dimensional or whatever non-beveled version of the logo went up, and it looks fantastic.
I have a critique. I hate to.
Okay.
And maybe I just haven't seen the right image. But where is the bottom block of the big T? You know what I mean?
I didn't think it had a bottom block. I thought it was just straight all the way down. Nope, you're right. I can see it. Maybe
I know I have one in this room somewhere, and I'm wearing it.
I'm looking at 2 of them. Yeah, there's one on your shirt, and there's one over your shoulder.
Where's the block of both T's?
Maybe just the angle, but like we're not seeing, like if you're straight on, at elevation.
Yeah,
maybe you'd see it, but we're all the pictures I've seen have been from like ground or field level, and even there, you're going to get a little bit of the south end zone building block in the bottom of that thing. But I think it looks great. They topped it off with a black bar. Was it Red Raiders or Texas Tech?
Texas Tech, at least on one side. Who knows? I don't know if it says Texas Tech on both, but
I think it's fantastic. I can't wait for that to be finished. It feels like it happened quickly.
Yes.
We were talking about deconstruction. Construction progress was going to start after the home game at the end of 2022 against Oklahoma. And then you played all of this season under construction there. So much so that like the locker rooms that were in that building were decommissioned, and visiting teams had to be in like temporary locker room space. I think it was set up in like a trailer.
Yeah.
But that's already done. That part of the construction is behind us. Now the next time you play in there, theoretically, it will be done. It will be completed. and then you'll have fans sitting in that area. So that's exciting. I love it. It just feels like it happened so quickly, but it's been a year and a half at this point, and almost 2 full years by the time you get that back into it. But that's up. The other thing, spring practice is nearing. It's close. I know spring game is the 20th of April, and it will be in Midland. But one thing we haven't heard a lot of is just anything about the football program. Even some of the staff changes have kind of come very, very quietly, or at least spread out in such a way that like it just kind of came and went. Like, you didn't retain Hamby as your offensive line coach. You hired Clay McGuire. You promoted Josh Cochran to run game coordinator. But all those things were kind of spread out without a whole lot of fanfare, without a whole lot of just attention. It's just kind of like it's been a very quiet spring, which is great. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think one we talked about it early in this season when things did not go your way when you lost back-to-back games to open the season to Wyoming and Oregon. We talked about the hype and how it was kind of embarrassing, how we were just kind of we were not living up to the brand, which was the thing they all talked about, right? The toughest, hardest working, most disciplined thing, whatever the whole thing was.
And the thing kind of disappeared.
And then disappeared.
Yeah. The brand. I'm sure it was there. It just was not.
Yeah. And then
it was not in the materials as much.
The other thing that I think we heard a lot about was McGuire talking about how the 2023 team could have beaten the 2022 team by 2 scores. Like he was very, very high on this team. And that's of course his right to be so bought in.
He's a very positive guy.
Yeah. Being that the people I know that are actually close friends with he and his wife, I had heard through the grapevine, through so many different secondhand, third hand, that like supposedly his wife had said, yeah, he's learned his lesson to shut his mouth. Or he's learning his lesson. So that may be part of it. And it wasn't like it was all season. It was like early on, it was like, oh yeah, it was like and I think the other example of it was just how Texas and their fans and their just the entire athletic department use those comments about everything runs through Lubbock. And he's like, yeah, one that was supposed to be that was a locker room quote, like I was for my guys, and it got out and it got used against us. Same kind of thing. Like we just kind of self-police a little bit and kind of make sure what we say stays where it's supposed to be. Anyways, all that to say, it's been a quiet spring. I'm sure people have heard because it's Micah Hudson, but like he'll be out this spring. He had a minor procedure on his knee. Precautiously just gonna let him heal over the spring, so he won't be participating. But other than that, man, let's go. Let's do some spring football when it's time.
It's crazy that it's just crazy that he's here.
Yeah, the pessimist in me, the cynic in me said like something's gonna happen, something's gonna change. He wasn't ever really committed to Tech. It was always like he was just kind of there and was gonna flip last second. We're like, okay, it's signing day. Like, okay, he signed in the early period. He's still got time to not show up to campus. And then he did. He's here.
And he inserts himself into some Twitter battles and talks a little smack here and there. Still, I was with you. No fault at all to the young man. It was more just the couple decades plus of being a Red Raider fan, knowing that a lot of times things like that don't go our way. And I didn't know how it was going to transpire. And I wasn't going to necessarily say anything bad about him at all. But it was, yeah, I was with you. I just kind of thought, yeah, let's see. Let's just see if let's see if he suits up. Let's see if he suits up in August, September. And then I'll be ready. I'm good. I'll be good then. And
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So anyway, I'm excited about him. I'm really hoping that he can have a good connection with Morton, and they can get some stuff going on the passing game.
Hey, speaking of good connections, something that we should probably mention and just bring to everybody's listening attention. If you don't follow us on Twitter X, you should at 23 Personnel. Friday, we tweeted out something about realignment coming. And no, we're not leaving the gambling gougers taking the planes. But there's news on the horizon, big things in the podcasting world. Phase 18 for 23 Personnel podcast is coming.
The reach.
Be on the lookout.
Yes.
Hopefully this will just continue to strengthen our space within the podcasting realm and be able to help us continue to bring y'all some of the best content out there.
Well, and it will give us resources, hopefully, for opposing teams. A lot more insight and kind of a camaraderie between opposing teams, and a good place to look for some insight on how Washington State may be looking this year, for instance, or kind of pick your poison there.
Yeah, for sure. Help us set up some more of those opponent preview episodes. So just I think we may have said too much, but
okay. All right, fair. We'll stop there.
Let's jump to basketball first, then baseball. Nope. Let's flip that. Let's do baseball first, then basketball,
Okay.
and finish up with the Big 12 tournament, which is looming on the horizon, Michael, because the women are up there soon, men to follow. Texas Tech is not in a bad spot. If you stay in your 4 seed here, you get a double bye, which is advantageous for a team such as Texas Tech. But let's jump to baseball, and I won't play the intro because we just have too much to do. But
yeah, fair.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but last week TJ Pompey was named Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. Pompey is off to just an incredible start to his Red Raider career. Those that were paying attention in the fall and spring practices, which we weren't privy to, but could have told you big things were in store. But so far this season, 12 games in, he started and played in all 12 games, held down shortstop, which many baseball fans will know. Shortstop is like your elite position for your infielders. So him holding that down is just a testament to his skill, right? He's second on the team in batting average at 392. It's taken a little bit of a dip the past couple of games, but his OPS is 1100, good for second among all starters, only behind Damian Bravo, who leads in both average and OPS. Leads the team in starting, just everybody in at-bats at 51, 20 hits and 51 at-bats, scored 16 runs, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 19 RBI so far, slugging .627, has worked 7 walks and 1 hit by pitch, does have 11 strikeouts, which is tied for second most. Gavin Cash still leads at 14, but he's cut way down on that pace. Cash has on base percentage at nearly 500 is TJ Pompey, and he's perfect, 6 for 6 in stolen base attempts. But he was named Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. Coming into this week, you're now unanimously ranked in the top 25 among all of the major baseball publications. Baseball America has you at 14. D1 Baseball and the USA Today Coaches Poll have you at 17. The National College Baseball Writers Association has you at 18. And Perfect Game, finally on the board, has you at 24. So you've now won, what is it? 7 straight games to get to now 10-2 on the season. You didn't have a midweek last week, but then you did take a full 3-game series against Gardner-Webb Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You won game 1, 10-7. Family and I were at the game, had ourselves a good time for as long as we could stand it before the kids were just bored. The younger two, because all 3 of them came. The middle one, Hayden, doesn't have the attention as a 3-year-old to sit there for very long.
Very understandable.
And we left bottom of the 5th inning. So we made it about halfway. And it wasn't like we were just like completely done, where it was like, it's late enough and he's starting to get there. We're just going to call it. Get back in the car. Texas Tech is batting in the 6th inning and takes the lead there for good. One, I thought it was interesting, the Gardner-Webb mascot, not just the Bulldogs, Michael, but the running Bulldogs.
Like the fighting Irish.
Yeah, the running Bulldogs. A little concerned game 1, like it went a little closer than I expected to get to at a team that was 2-9 at the end of the weekend. You win 10-7. Kyle Robinson got the start. Not the best start, right? Like he gave up a hit early and then a home run. Like we were just getting settled into the game. It's like, oh wow, it's 2-0. But then following that, he did settle in. He did not give up another run in his outing until the 6th inning to Gardner-Webb get back on the board. So it was Gardner-Webb put up 2 in the first. Texas Tech responded, tied the game, bottom of the 2nd, put 3 more up in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, to make it 6-2. Gardner-Webb scored 1 in the 6th. You put up 3 in the 6th. Each traded a run in the 7th, and they put up 3 in the 8th to make it a little interesting. 10-7. Really, what that did is it allowed Ryan Free to come in and to work a save opportunity. But Kyle Robinson, your starter there, goes 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, only 2 earned, 3 walks to 8 strikeouts. Josh Sanders goes an inning in the 3rd, gives up a run, 4 strikeouts. Huffling comes in for 2/3. He had a little bit of a struggle bus there. 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, in only 2/3 of an inning. Hudson Parker comes in, walks 2 batters before giving the ball over to Ryan Free, who goes the last inning in the 3rd. 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts. You did strike out 15 running Bulldogs on the night to only 5 walks. Ended up pulling that one out 10-7. Saturday, much different affair. You win this one, running away 29-3. Big start to this game for you. One, you had Mac Hoyer on the mound. It was his first start of the season. But then you put up 13 runs in the 2nd inning. It was 18-0 before Gardner-Webb scored their first run in the 4th to make it 18-1. You put up 4 in the 5th to go up 22-1. 3 more in the 6th, 25-1. 3 in the 6th, 28-1. 1 in the 7th, 29-1. Nope, I'm off of my math. 26-1. Then Gardner-Webb scores 1 each in the 8th and 9th. And you put up 3 in the 8th. 29-3. Everybody got on. Everybody got to play, it feels like. And then Sunday, coming off of the game on Saturday, you're like, well, that was, I guess, more what you're expecting this weekend to go. Starts off a little closer. Gardner-Webb, Texas Tech scores first, 2 in the second. Gardner-Webb takes the lead in the third, and then adds it in the fourth. So they're at 4-2. You tie it in the fourth, and then you really put it away there in the sixth. You put up 5 runs in the sixth. Trenton Parrish ends up getting the win for you. He came in relief after Jack Washburn, your starter, went 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs. Washburn, I like his stuff. He just seems to get hit, and when he gets hit, like it's not like he spreads them out. It like kind of snowballs on him for a second. But yeah, he went 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned. Parrish comes in. He goes 2 2/3, gives up only 1 hit, 3 strikeouts and a walk. Sanders comes in for his second appearance on the weekend, goes a full inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 strikeout. That may be Sanders' first run given up. And then Parker Hatera finishes the game, 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, to finalize the weekend sweep.
Only 2 walks on the day. It's pretty good.
Yeah, to 9 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, on Sunday, Texas Tech batters walked 11 times. Saturday, they worked 14 walks. And then on Friday, they walked 7. So do that math.
A running bulldog is not a very graceful thing.
They're ugly dogs to begin with, but
yeah, I mean, a lovable ugly.
Sure.
Kind of like me, but also like me, not the most graceful. Okay, it's fair. I'm calling it like I see it because it's similar to how I run. It's just my legs are a lot longer, but still awkward.
Yeah. So at this point in the season, the starting pitching stats we talked about last week, they're kind of outside of Washburn, they're starting to kind of stabilize a little bit. Kyle Robinson has dropped his ERA down to 3.14, whip of 1.26. He's gone 14 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs. Opponents are hitting only 185. Mac Hoyer got his first start. If you'll give me a second, I can pull up his numbers as a starter, because they're going to be a little bit different than his numbers as a reliever. Mac Hoyer went 5 innings on Saturday, 5 hits, 1 run, ERA of 1.8. Opponents were batting .278 against him and a whip of 1. As opposed to his numbers as a reliever, he had gone 5 1/3, so just about the same number of innings, but he'd given up 8 hits to 2 runs, so his ERA was 3.38, so just about cut in half as a starter.
Spencer, I feel like we should let people in on the fact that you're holding a baseball while you're going through all this.
Oh, well, baseball's just my absolute favorite thing to hold. But yeah, it's been like a day of baseball, and I couldn't put it down today. Is it distracting, Michael?
No, I mean I think it's enhancing.
It's enhancing.
Yes.
It's back from when this is a game ball from when we were on the Dodgers Little League, but
nice.
It's one of the better balls that we have because it was game ball. Anyways, starting pitching. This is including Jacob Rogers, who I think has kind of shifted out of a starter's role. But your starters so far in this season have thrown 39 1/3 innings pitched, ERA of 6.63. If you take out Jacob Rogers, your ERA is down to 5.30, whip of 1.6. Your starting pitchers have given up 22 walks on this season, as opposed to your relievers have only given up 16. Your starting pitchers have struck out 47 batters. Your relievers have 58. Not caveat here. your relievers have thrown more innings. They've thrown 52 and 2/3 innings going into today. I don't. This isn't through today, but your relievers actually been a lot better than your starters. We talked about offensively. One of the biggest things from this weekend, Michael, I think, was that just the shift in the lineup. Gavin Cash did make his return to the starting lineup, and some of this is going to do with what happened with Brady Trumbello. We don't have any like details,
Right.
but we know that he was hospitalized after a medical emergency on Monday, and that Kevin Bazell was going to be out a little bit. Tadlock said it wasn't injury related and it wasn't discipline. I think we can put some pieces together that Trumbello may have been injured, and it may have been Bazell that hit him. And obviously, that wouldn't be intentional, but
no, of course not. Yeah,
but those kind of things are tough on the team and on the teammate, right? So I think that's what you saw. So you saw a little bit of a shakeup there with just how the lineup was handled. Also, Tracer Lopez has been struggling a little bit offensively. So you saw just a different infield this weekend. But yeah, so you saw Austin Green start at second base on Friday. Gavin Cash was your leadoff hitter all weekend, which was an interesting move. Like he's been your 4-hole for the entire year and then all of last year. But he was your leadoff hitter and your DH. He started off the game with a bunt single, which was just the thing of beauty because they were playing him to pull. So bad. They basically moved their third baseman over into right field and opened up the entire left side of the infield. Then to start the game, to start the series, Cash lays down this beautiful bunt up the third base. I was like, if you're gonna do that, I'll just bunt myself on. To then follow that up with a home run later, which was just fantastic. Anyways, he was your leadoff hitter all weekend. DH on Friday with Landon Stripling at first. Cade McGee, your everyday third baseman, was there. Washburn has kind of been flipping back and forth between right field and DH as your starter there. Damian Bravo has not been pulled from left. Gage Harrelson, TJ Pompey have nailed down their positions, but you've had a rotation of Davis Rivers and Dylan Maxey behind the plate with Bazell's absence. And they've been okay in terms of defensive catchers, but they've been pretty good offensively. Saturday, Cash did get back on first base. Travis Sanders was your starter at second. You got Austin Green was your starter back out in right field with Washburn being your DH. And then Sunday, again, Cash was your leadoff at first, Travis Sanders at second, Cade McGee at third, Washburn right field, Austin Green was your DH. So you've had that rotation there between Washburn, Green, and Well, Washburn and Green have been flipping back and forth between right field and DH a lot, except when Cash was your DH on Friday. Washburn was in right. Green played second. But you got Cash moved back up, and then he seems to have found a little bit more of his stride offensively, recovering from a little bit of a slow start. But he is, what's he batting now? He is batting, well, let's pull up the sheet. Give me 2 seconds. 286, 42 at bats with 12 hits, 3 home runs. This is going into today's game. He did hit a home run today. Slugging .595, on base of .380, so with an OPS just under 1,000. 7 walks to 12 strikeouts. So, you played again today on the road in Albuquerque against New Mexico. These games, especially when you play in Albuquerque, have been a little strange and not very kind to you. Today it felt like it was going to go a lot more your way.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
You jumped out to you had a 7-0 lead after your top half of the second. You scored 5 in the first. You batted around. Cash came up to bat twice in the top of the first. You added 2 more in the second. And then New Mexico ends up tying the game at the bottom of the third. They scored 2 in the fourth, 3 in the third. New Mexico took the lead in the bottom of the fifth with a run to get up 8-7, and then you put up 4 in the sixth to go up 8-11, and then everything held firm there the rest of the way. Your starting pitching tonight came from Tabor Fast. He went 2 1/3, did give up the 6 hits, 5 runs. Derek Bridges came in. He's been used so sparingly this season. And like when he comes in, he's not been doing great. Bridges went 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk. Zane Petty came on in relief. He started a couple games for you so far. He went 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. Jacob Rogers, again, has started a couple games for you. Not done super well, but tonight he went 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 strikeouts. So maybe his role will be more of a bullpen guy. Ryan Free, an inning, and just gave up the 1 walk. And then Trenton Parrish comes in for the save, goes 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. You struck out 8 Lobos batters to give up 6 walks. On the flip side, you struck out 4 times, but you also walked 4 times. Cash went 3 for 6, so continuing to build his average. 1 RBI. He was a triple shy of the cycle. Single, double, and a home run with 2 strikeouts. Cade McGee, I think, is also working to get back in offensively. Defensively, he's been just so good for you. But tonight he went 2 for 4. Bravo 2 for 4. He's continuing his hot streak with an RBI. Dylan Maxey 1 for 2. It's a pinch hitter in relief of Davis Rivers. Travis Sanders got another start today at second. Pompey struggled a little bit when it was only 1 for 5 today. But in years past, you've lost games like this, especially when you give up a lead. You had 7-run lead, but you ended up coming back. Win 11-8 to then get ready to welcome the Longhorns this weekend, who are not doing super hot. They are hosting the Aggies tonight. Let's check in on that game real quick.
Oh yeah.
But they are 7-4 on the season. Let's see, live stats. That game may still be in progress. Ooh, yeah. A&M is up 9-2 right now. Yep, that game's over. Number 7, A&M ends up winning this one 9-2 in Austin. So Longhorns dropped to 7-5. Yeah. But that's a top 10 team that they were hosting. They also just came off of a 3-game sweep in their Houston tournament at the Astros Foundation College Classic at Minute Maid tournament, where they played LSU on Friday, number 3 LSU. They struck out 20 times in that game, Michael.
Man.
need to remind you that baseball is a game of 27 outs. So 20 of their 27 outs were recorded via the strikeout. And maybe it was more of an emotional letdown. They lost Saturday's game against Texas State. And then bounced back to face top 10 Vanderbilt and lost that one. So they're on a little 4-game skid here. So far this season, they've played 3 against San Diego. They lost one of those. They beat Houston Christian, and then 3 versus Cal Poly, 1 versus St. John's before their Houston tournament. They played A&M tonight, lost that one. So maybe they're down bad, or maybe they're fired up for this weekend. But Longhorns will be here Friday, 6:30, first pitch on Friday the 8th, 2 p.m. on Saturday, 2 p.m. on Sunday. One thing to note, Garrett Bame, Red Raider freshman, has an older brother on the pitching staff for the Longhorns. Gage Bame. He's actually one of their more often used bullpen arms. At least going into tonight, he had pitched 7 2/3 innings, had a 3.52 ERA, a 12-0 strikeout to walk ratio, which is just insane.
Yes.
So you can see why he's a guy they go to a lot. But if you want to look at like offense and defensive statistical categories, I mean, these two teams are very similar. Texas Tech offensively is batting 380. I think this is the biggest difference here. You're a little bit stronger offensively, whereas they're probably a little bit stronger defensively. But you're batting 380, they're batting 320. You're slugging 640, they're slugging 580. Your on base is just under 500 at 494. Theirs just over 400 at 409. Before today, obviously, you would hit 20 home runs, they'd hit 22. You're scoring a whole lot more runs, 152 runs so far in your 12 games to their 95. Struck out 79 times, which feels like a lot until you see like they've struck out 110 times. 30 more times. Granted, they had 20 in one game. So you can kind of see where that comes from. And you are perfect on the season so far in stolen base attempts, 14 of 14. They're 8 of 12. Offensively, they're led by a very interesting combination of positions here. I've never seen a first base / center fielder before, because those two body types are very, very different skill sets. But offensively, Jared Thomas plays first and center field for the Longhorns. He's slashing 476. He's slugging 690, on base of 585, 6 doubles and a home run, 10 strikeouts. He's their best stolen base guy. He's perfect 6 for 6, like our TJ Poppy. They've got 3 more guys batting over 400. So Jared Thomas, Peyton Powell, and Kimball Schuessler. They've got another 3 guys that are above 300. Jalen Flores, who also leads their team in home runs with 5. Will Gasparino, and then Max Bellew. So you have the upper hand offensively. They have the upper hand defensively. They are allowing teams to bat 260 against them, whereas you're allowing teams to bat just about 280. Their team ERA is just under 3.7. You're just over 4.7. Walks are about the same. Texas Tech pitching has allowed 40 walks. Longhorn pitching has allowed 43. Home runs, just 1 different. Longhorns have given up 10 home runs to your 9. Teams have scored 5 more runs against the Red Raiders and the Longhorns, 56 to 51. You've struck out 11 more batters than they have, 106 to 95. And then fielding percentage, slight advantage to the Longhorns, 972 to 969. Not offensively. We talked about that. Defensively, they're led by LBJ, LeBaron Johnson. If you don't know him, you've been living under a rock or haven't been paying attention to Longhorn baseball or Big 12 baseball. He's their big junior starting pitcher. I think he's like 6'5", whatever. ERA so far in the season, 2.25 with a whip of 1.13 through 16 full innings pitched, giving up only 11 hits, 4 runs, 7 walks to 20 strikeouts, and opponents are batting a paltry 208. Your other weekend starters, you're likely to see Cody Howard, 3.29 ERA, Charlie Hurley, 3.97 ERA. Both have a 1.3 WHIP. They've both thrown they're thrown 13 and 11 innings, respectively. And their batting averages. Teams are touching up Howard a little bit better, 294 as opposed to 209 for Hurley. But not much different in terms of runs. I mean, Howard's given up only 6 runs. Hurley's given up 5. So their starting pitching just been phenomenal. Bullpen, it looks a lot more like you in terms of they have a small number of guys that they go to a lot. They've got 10 guys that have 3 games of experience. Texas Tech has 10 guys with 3 games of experience. But they have a guy with 6 appearances. Again, before tonight, you had a guy with 6 appearances. Their Josh Sanders on their staff is Grant Fontenot. Except he doesn't go as long as Sanders does. Fontenot, 6 appearances, 6 innings pitched, 0 ERA, 1.5 WHIP, 7 hits, 3 runs, but none of them have been earned. 2 walks to 8 strikeouts, and opponents are batting almost 300 against him. We talked about Gage Bame a little earlier. He has 5 appearances so far this season. So through 5 appearances, he's gone 7 2/3 innings. Max Grubbs had 5 appearances and a start, 8 innings and a 5.4 ERA. Then Easton Toomies, 5 appearances, 7 innings pitched, 6.43 ERA, and 1.4 WHIP. So they're not untouchable on the mound. Their starting pitching is a little bit better than their bullpen, whereas I think you would say your bullpen's a little bit better than your starting pitching. If you can somehow get to LBJ on Friday and get him out sooner rather than later, that may improve your chances, but you've got a much better offense than they do. And their defense is just a little bit better than yours. So 3-game series this weekend. Obviously, with it being in Lubbock, you expect a win on this series. It took some heroics 2 years ago to get you the series win with a walk-off steal of home on Friday from Kurt Wilson. To then follow that up, Wilson hit a walk-off grand slam on Saturday. Hopefully you don't need back-to-back walk-offs, although those are fun, but you've got 3 opportunities to take the Longhorns down their final trip to Lubbock. Hopefully it doesn't give too much power to the Longhorns here, as it seems like in both football and basketball so far. But they are on a little bit of a slide, so this may favor your Red Raiders. Anything else you want to talk about with baseball, Michael? I feel like I've rambled on for quite a while.
No, I mean, the only thing I wanted to point out is the amount of stolen bases, because that's something that's always been interesting to me. So Texas Tech has already made 14 stolen base attempts for the year, and they weren't thrown out on any of them, so they're 14-14. Last year, the entire year, 28 out of 36. So it seems like a little bit more aggressive thought process on the base running, and I don't know if that has something to do with, I know Gutierrez isn't at first anymore. I don't know if they're being coached to be a little bit more risky. Maybe they just have faster guys, but that's something I do like to see, that because it, on the flip side of that, there were 121 stolen base attempts against Texas Tech last year, and 95 of them were successful. So you hope that they can, kind of close that gap a little bit.
And I may have tried to find some silver lining in why you didn't attempt a lot of stolen bases and tell you like, well, it's because you're hitting for power so much. Well, you're still hitting for power this year, and you're stealing bases more. I love the aggressive nature, and I don't know whose call it is, whether that's the first base coach or if it's Tadlock or if it's J Bob over at third. But I love it. Now,
I do too.
I talked about the Longhorns.
While it's working.
while it's working, because you hate to erase potential runs because you got caught stealing. We talked about the Longhorns' schedule so far, and they've hit a little bit of a tough streak. So they lost all three this past weekend. They lost tonight. Then they host number 17, or sorry, they travel to us, to Texas Tech, number 17, Texas Tech. And they go quite a while when it seems like they're going to really pad their schedule back up. I don't know how good Washington is. I know a couple of players on the one, because I know, like, I follow the baseball bat bros on YouTube. They do just baseball bat reviews. And one of their original creators is now playing for Washington. But they host Washington, they host Air Force, they host Baylor, they host A&M Corpus Christi, so that they get quite a bit of a homestand here, following their trip to Lubbock, starting on Tuesday versus Incarnate Word. So it's 1, 4, 6, 9. They'll have a 10-game homestand here before they hit the road again, March 28th, to go up to Manhattan, Kansas. They get Abilene Christian, BYU. They get 2 against Texas State. So back-to-back. One's in San Marcos, one's in Austin, which isn't that big of a trip, obviously, if you know geography here in the state. But and then Houston, UTRGV. They don't really get a tough opponent after this weekend, depending on how you see Kansas State, until they host TCU, which I think is the biggest benefit here in this matchup, is they're at home until April 19th. So they have a 6-week stretch on their schedule where they're going to just like rack up all the wins.
They did lose to Texas State at a neutral field, though.
Right. But
I know.
I don't think they're that bad.
No, I agree.
Okay. Let's jump over to basketball so we can get to our Big 12 tournament food draft, because I think that's what everybody's waiting for. Obviously, we talked about tonight coming into the game, or coming into the recording, into the podcast. Texas Tech wins tonight on the road at Oklahoma State. It's a road win. It also is against Oklahoma State, who's probably the worst team in the conference, and maybe looking for a new head coach next year. But Oklahoma State now drops to 12-18, 4-13 on the season of Big 12 play. Your last matchup was January 9th. You defeated them again pretty handily, 90-73. They had lost coming into tonight, lost their last 3 versus Oklahoma, UCF, and then on the road at Texas. Opportunity to bounce back, coming back home, but was not so. They're now 10-8 at home. They were 1-8 on the road. Basically led this thing wire to wire.
Yeah, just not a lot to really dissect aside from they just had no answers. Texas Tech shot well tonight, 50% from the field, 33% from 3. Came out shooting really well in the first half. I think, let's see, what was it? It was 7-0 before Oklahoma State scored, and that was on a free throw. Tech led 12-1 at one point. They led by 21 going into halftime. It looked like Oklahoma State might bounce back a little bit. I think they cut to lead to 12 or 14 with 5 or so minutes left, but it wasn't going to happen. And this was without Warren Washington still. Texas Tech was able to put together a good battle defensively. Excuse me. Quite a few points in the paint, 40 points in the paint for Texas Tech. That's huge. I don't know if that's the biggest of the year, but it's
got to be
pretty close.
Yeah.
To put up that kind of showing in the paint. I think rebounds, I wanted to see where Tech landed on that. They actually won the rebound battle, which is the second or third time they've done that in the last 3 or 4 games. That's also pretty big, 34-30 on rebounds, and especially with Washington still on sidelined. Yalaho getting some minutes in there. Of course, Jennings in there with 8 points tonight. But, Isaacs looks like he's working himself out of his slump a little bit. 19 points. Darian Williams 18 on 8 of 12 shooting, including 2 of 3 field goals. Had 9 rebounds, so almost had a double tonight. And then McMillan off the bench just was on fire. 3 of 6 from 3, 5 of 11 from the field overall. 14 points, 5 rebounds. Even threw an assist in there for good measure. So it just got away from Oklahoma State before they could even get their shoes tied right. And you were pointing out before we started, that Texas Tech wins 75-58, and that included going completely scoreless in the last 3 minutes and 49 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They went 0 for 6 on their last 6 field goals, and during that time, Oklahoma State went on an 8-0 run. So made it a more respectable 17-point loss than a 25-point loss.
Yeah, it said 25.
Yeah.
3 guys in double figures. You mentioned Pop Isaacs, Darian Williams, and Chance McMillan. Didn't shoot a lot of free throws this game. Only 13 total attempts, 12 of 13 on the night. Yeah, I mean, shoot, you were, like you said, out the gate. You led 39 minutes and 2 seconds of the 40-minute game.
Only missed 1 free throw. I mean, just everything. A lot of things went right. It was a very good game to prepare for the Bears, for the Waco Bears.
For the Waco Bears, which one like it's weird, like of all the games that you've seen lately, it feels like teams have figured out Texas Tech and their deficiency without Warren Washington, what you can do against them. Are your bigs without Washington seem to get in foul trouble? Yalahu had 4 fouls. Yeah. Jennings had 3. I think and they combined, for 40 minutes, whatever it was, or 42 minutes, 12 points. So they were on the court together at some point. Yeah, they were. I mean, they scored 4 field goals between them. It's gonna have to be quite a bit different on Saturday for you to pull this one off. 5 p.m. ESPN2 versus Baylor. Sorry, I was getting back to the notes. They've got 6 players. The Bears averaging 10 or more points per game. Jacoby Walter almost at 15 points per game. Ray J. Dennis 13.5. Jalen Bridges almost at 12. Langston Love and Eves Misi both at 11.1, and then Jaden Nunn 10.7. So like your 6 men basically will score 10 plus. The next guy only scores 5. But they've got a couple guys with some serious, or I say a couple, they've got some serious size on that roster, which is what gives Texas Tech fits right now, especially playing without Washington. And we don't know how long it's going to be because, he may be resting to fully heal up, especially with the win tonight and just kind of the trajectory of the season, how it was going here towards the end, winning these last couple of games. Solidifying your spot in the tournament. You may be making the choice like, hey, like let's make sure that Warren Washington's ready to go for the real deal, and not like have any further setbacks. I think there was a time when he played, was it against West Virginia, where he played for a few minutes. It's like maybe he shouldn't have played. If it wasn't West Virginia, it was against Texas.
No, I don't think it was West Virginia. I think it was. I do know what you're talking about, though. I don't see that he played against West Virginia.
Okay. Because I know that there was concern there because he played for a few minutes and looked like he may have re-injured it or re-aggravated or whatever it was, his foot. Like maybe we just be a little bit more cautious and hold him out. So that size advantage for Baylor is still going to pose problems. Obviously, winning would certainly help Texas Tech, but I think their resume at this point is going to hold them up well enough to get them into the tournament, which is something I think fans had kind of adjusted expectations coming into the season. I thought we were going to be super elated if the Red Raiders in year 1 under McCaslin had been able to make the tournament. And then to go off on the early season, especially in conference play, the little run you had, I think their expectations and their sights got set a little higher. But to win 10 conference games in the toughest college basketball conference in the country in year one, with the roster that you had and the obvious deficiencies, now you can look back and say this roster is far from perfect. But to looking at a possible 10-8 conference record, I think is admirable. And what McCaslin's been able to do. So I would say, obviously, we had a question on the stream here. How is Texas Tech looking for this Saturday? I think it's a tough matchup, and it has been all year against teams with size, especially without Warren Washington.
Teams with size that can score, and you brought up the foul trouble with Yalejo and Jennings. I mean, they combined for 7 fouls tonight. They combined for 8. They each had 4 in West Virginia. So it's going to be trouble for these guys. And Drew and his staff are smart, and they're probably going to try to force these guys to foul and have even less size on the court.
Yeah. I do want to mention Brock Cunningham managed to find himself removed from another basketball game.
It's a shame.
Second time in three games. Flagrant one and ejected in Monday's game versus Baylor. It wasn't as egregious as body checking Darian Williams into the first row and into the broadcast table. But it's he just ran through a screen and just obliterated the Bayer there. And I was pretty critical of Fraschilla in the moment when he was kind of defending it, and he was kind of trying to react and provide commentary live without the benefit of having replays and not having to talk, to talk it through. But he did it again on Monday. He defended Cunningham until he saw the replays. Like, that's just good officiating. And wait a minute. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Well, see, he corrected.
He did.
He was given new information and he corrected.
Because in the game against Tech, he said that's just good basketball, and then walked that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I feel like you and I, this is like our only big disagreement point is my love of Fran Fraschilla and your disdain thereof.
But no, so I don't know if it's not Ryan. I guess it could be Ryan. I don't know if it was Rob or Kyle. No, you haven't missed the food draft. That's actually coming up next. Now that we've gotten through basketball, Big 12 tournament upcoming, Michael. As they did last year, the Big 12 has a food item.
Going through my draft notes.
Make sure you pull up your notes. A food item for every team in the conference. Obviously, with the larger conference this season, more items to choose from. And then it even came out. Big 12 shared photos of each one of the items today. So
the Wabash Canada dog. No, it didn't come back for a redemption tour. Do you remember that thing? I think it had purple relish.
It did. This year,
the execution was rough. There was some Fire Festival looking photos of that cannon dog.
Cheese sandwich in a styrofoam container. Yeah, no. Kansas State's food on this year is a fried PB&J sandwich. Which, let's be honest. That's kind of mid. Just to start off.
What?
Come on. Now.
Okay. This is going to be a good draft. All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
I think I'm going to get everybody I want. Okay. Here's slight rules. So, we posted there's an image in our notes. I don't know where this came from exactly, but someone wrote down all the descriptions. Those descriptions are not 100% correct.
Okay.
So I think we should use the descriptions that were included in the official Twitter feed, because for one,
okay, I'm there.
Not to get ahead, because I wanted to go through one at a time as we made our picks, but I still won't say it. There's a burger on here that is said to have tobacco onions. And I thought that is the worst sounding thing I've ever heard. And
I'm
I
not even
looked it
sure
up.
what that does, what that means.
Agree. And I looked it up, and apparently it's
Oh,
just kind of like onion strings.
it was
And I
a
thought, okay.
typo.
And then I realized, yes, it's supposed to be Tabasco onions. And I'm thinking,
Much
okay,
better.
that's
Tabasco
at least
fried onions.
yeah, that's at least a thing that makes sense. So I feel like we
Let's
can't use this list in our notes. We have to use the official Big 12 list. Okay.
Okay,
And
so we'll
the
set
other
the
thing,
stage and give the menu first, and then we'll decide on the order, and then your other thing.
I know how to decide the order, by the way, so I'm ready.
Oh,
when it
I
comes-
had the coin flip simulator pulled up. I'll let you pick heads or tails. I
I was just
flip
going to
coin
put a
for us.
guitar pick in one of my hands, and you pick which hand. And if the guitar pick is in it, you go first.
Okay, sure. We'll do that way. It's much more visible.
Okay.
Visible.
It's just what I had near me that fits in
Okay.
my hands.
Well, I've got a baseball.
You
Give
have
me
a
the
baseball. I think it's in your right hand, Spencer. Well, I'll be damned.
Okay, so let's set the menu, if you will. We'll start with Baylor.
Okay.
We'll do it alphabetically through the conference. Baylor brisket slider, Dr. Pepper glazed brisket with sweet slaw on a brioche bun.
I'm withholding comments until draft time.
Yeah, I don't want to give away my opinion or stances. So okay, BYU Cosmo churro, caramel filled churros topped with sweet cream drizzle, mini marshmallow, cinnamon sugar, and toffee crumble. UCF their citronaut float, orange soda and vanilla ice cream. Cincinnati the Cincy cheese coney, a jumbo hot dog, Cincinnati style chili topped with onion and cheddar cheese. For Houston, we have Shasta's brisket taco, chopped beef brisket, corn and black bean salsa, cilantro, and lime on corn tortillas. Iowa State, green chili pork walking taco. Green chili pork, shredded lettuce, sour cream, cheddar, and pepper jack cheese all packed into a bag of Doritos. The picture here does not help. It's mostly of the bag of Doritos. Kansas, Big J's loaded mac and cheese, cavatappi pasta, creamy cheese sauce, house smoked pulled pork, barbecue sauce, crispy fried onions, and a dash of pepper flakes. Kansas State, fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich topped with powdered sugar. Oklahoma, Tabasco, it's a Oklahoma onion burger, all beef patty topped with Tabasco fried onions paired with ranch dipping sauce. Oklahoma State, orange power pizza. That name does not help, but it's pepperoni, sausage, ham, sweet pepper bacon, mozzarella and cheddar cheese, and a ranch drizzle. TCU Cowtown loaded tots, fried tater tots, spicy queso, chopped house smoked brisket, corn and black bean salsa topped with a horn frog, purple sour cream. Don't know why we have to keep going to these purple food items for these schools. That ruins it. You could have just done away with the purple. Sorry, I was going to withhold comment. Texas, Big Bertha loaded baked potato, snooze fest, piled high with, chopped house smoked brisket, cheddar cheese, green onion, sour cream, butter, and barbecue. Texas Tech, masked rider burger, all beef patty, cheddar cheese, fried onion rings, sweet pickled jalapenos, and Red Raider barbecue sauce. West Virginia, pepperoni roll, sliced pepperoni, mozzarella cheese layered on a buttered roll. Okay. And then the Big 12 dog, it just looks like a
mess.
Foot long all beef hot dog, ketchup, mustard, red cabbage slaw, black sesame seeds, diced white onion, spicy cheese sauce, sauteed orange peppers. All right. Let's determine order here, and then we'll do the draft. Okay.
Okay. So which hand do I have my guitar pick in?
Oh, I've not been looking at your hands.
If you guess the right one, then you get to go first.
The right one? No. Let's do your left hand. What's in left hand? Yep. What's in your left hand?
Nothing.
Michael goes first. All right.
Okay.
That's fine. With the first pick of the draft, Michael selects.
And I don't think this is a homer pick.
Oh, you're taking the Tech burger, huh?
Absolutely. I'm taking the TTU. I love burgers.
Okay.
I love cheeseburgers. This is no secret. This looks like a really good cheeseburger to me, and the fact that it has the Red Raider barbecue sauce on it. So just going back to recap: all beef patty, cheddar cheese, fried onion, a big fried onion ring, sweet pickled jalapenos, Red Raider barbecue sauce. It doesn't look crazy messy. Looks like something you could actually enjoy at a basketball game and not feel like you're going to get on the jumbotron and go viral. So that's it. I'm trying not to be a homer, but mine,
Okay.
the TTU Master Rider Burger. First
Well,
pick.
then we're both getting our number one picks. Give me the Baylor brisket slider, man.
Really?
Yes, sir. That
Oh.
Dr. Pepper glazed brisket, for whatever reason, it just sounds like it's going to hit. It may be trash, but tonight Spencer says that's what sounds good.
I had that one pegged as that was number 12 in my rankings because
Wow.
I felt like with this much sweet and the slaw and all this other stuff with it, I felt like it should be pulled pork and not brisket. So I'm skeptical of adding all that sweetness to the brisket.
Okay. So Tech and Baylor off the board. Round two. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to switch things up a little bit.
Oh.
I'm gonna go off the board. I haven't seen draft day, but I imagine there's some really tense moments like this. So I'm gonna leave my number 2 pick because you played your hand earlier that I know that will probably be around later.
Is it the Kansas State sandwich?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm going to my number 3 pick, which is my second pick.
Okay.
Cosmos churros. That sounds incredible.
So the BYU Cosmo churro.
Yes,
it does.
So
it does.
I feel like I needed a dessert. I needed a dessert early in my draft, so I had a couple in there just to make sure I have a well-rounded experience in Kansas City. So yeah, caramel-filled churros topped with sweet cream drizzle, mini marshmallows, cinnamon coffee, and toffee crumble. It's like a condensed version of the Cougar Tail, which looked fantastic.
Sure.
So that's it. That's my number 2 pick, man.
All right. Dessert pickings are slim. It's either that or the drink from UCF, and I'm going to pass on dessert in round 2. Give me shoot. I don't want to tell you who are on my board here.
It's a big decision. There's still the PB&J sandwich. That's a dessert.
Give me Oklahoma State pizza.
Good. Get that off my list. That was number 11.
Oh, we're picking opposite of each other. That's
we
fine.
Are. That's crazy.
All right. Round 3.
Okay. Round 3 for me. Let me see. It's the one that you called a snooze fest.
Oh, the Texas loaded baked potato.
I love baked potatoes so much.
Get that out of here, dude. It's such a lame pick.
It's got brisket on it and cheese, and I mean I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a lot better than that pizza thing. That's just gonna be all grease. Like 9 meats on there. You can't eat that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I picked the Big Bertha loaded baked potato.
I feel like I shouldn't take brisket and like so close together, but I'm just gonna do it. And maybe proximity to Hill Country here is gonna have some good. I've never had Houston barbecue, but give me Shasta's brisket tacos from Houston. Chopped beef brisket, corn and black bean salsa, cilantro, lime. Sounds like a good brisket street taco.
I feel like we have to take these as they're presented, but I don't see the need for black beans and corn on this. I just feel like the cilantro and lime would be all you need, and I'm very skeptical that the tortillas in that photo are corn. Very skeptical.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I prefer wheat anyway, or not corn. I prefer flour, but
okay.
All right, round 4.
All right.
Gamblin says baked potato might have been my 1.1. Y'all, it's a potato.
Baked potato was my number 2, and the only reason it wasn't was because I like burgers better than baked potatoes. I mean, it's a fantastic vehicle. You can just put anything you want. You can put like chicken Alfredo on it. Just go for it. Whatever you want to put on it.
Get out of here with that nonsense. All right.
Okay.
We taking 4. You got 3 more picks, Michael.
All right. Number 4.
No.
Oh, wait. This is my 4th pick. I'm going with the Power Cat fried PB&J sandwich.
Good. Get that crap out of here. No.
That looks. It's like an empanada, but fried, and then they put some powdered sugar on top of it. Oh man! So I've got 2 desserts right now. I feel really good about that. I'm dessert heavy, so I can make some trades with people if I ever need to.
But see, like if I'm sitting down to like watch a basketball game, I don't know if I'm gonna reach for a dessert.
Well, but you're gonna have so many games though. That's the thing. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You've got to pace yourself, and peanut butter's just good protein. You're helping yourself throughout the day.
And decent proteins, also a lot of fat in the oils.
It'll help wash down the churros I just had.
You talk about like not wanting something that's like super greasy. Okay. I feel like I've got a bunch of I have entrees. So I'm actually gonna drop down and I'm gonna pick up Big J's loaded mac and cheese. Get a side here. Kansas loaded mac and cheese. Sounds like we may have agreed that was a higher round pick for Michael.
Well, it would have been higher, except the note that I wrote down on my draft board is, quote, "This would kill me instantly."
That's kind of the point.
I know. It's
creamy cheese sauce.
I just wanted to enjoy a few things before.
Pulled pork, barbecue sauce, crispy fried onions, and red pepper flakes.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. I think you made a really good pick. I don't care what the 40 time was at the combine. That's a good pick. Okay.
All right.
I am.
What do we have left? We've got the UCF Citronaut drink. We've got the Cincy cheese coney, Iowa State green chili pork walking taco. Got the Oklahoma onion burger, TCU Cowtown loaded tots, Mountaineer pepperoni roll, and the Big 12 dog. Where are you going round 5?
Mountaineer pepperoni roll, brother.
All right. That's
Double Dave's has taught me that this type of thing is elite. I know that this is different. And it's like a tradition that they do, and it's probably blasphemous that I'm getting it wrong or daring to comparing it to a Double Dave's pepperoni roll, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about enjoying the things that our Mountaineer brethren enjoy.
All right. I don't. Okay.
Circling
best available.
Man, this is serious.
Best available on the board for what I have left. Give me Oklahoma onion burger.
Good pick. Now that we know that they're Tabasco instead of tobacco onions, that's a solid pick.
I'm a fan of smash burgers. I know they may have originated out of Oklahoma. They do it all with onion up there. Obviously grilled onions. These are fried though with Tabasco. I'm a big fan of hot sauce. And looking at what's left, I didn't want to. I'm just best available is where I was at with that one.
Here's a controversial pick.
Oh no.
The Cincy cheese coney. I don't care what people say. Cincinnati chili is fine. It is different. Broaden your horizons, folks. It's okay. I do think that the picture of that, if they're going to call it a Cincinnati chili, and the Lubbockist brought this up on Twitter earlier today, and I completely agree. If they're going to call this a Cincy cheese coney, we shouldn't be able to see the bun. There should just be so much cheese on top of this thing. You just kind of have to like scrape it away and then, just work on that throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean it's a chili cheese dog, but with Cincinnati chili instead.
Yeah, I'm just simple. It's great.
I'm not a big fan of raw white onion, so pass. All right.
This is like the most complimentary draft. We're both getting everything we want.
Right. Let me just confess. I don't love what's left.
Me neither. There's
like I almost want to like just there's like pick something like hope I don't get stuck with something I hate. Okay, I don't love this pick, but I need something sweet. Give me the UCF Citronaut drink. The
It's a solid
Fanta
pick.
orange float, basically.
That's a solid pick. That's heavy, but it's and you don't have a dessert yet. I think I've
That's the
hogged all
only
the desserts.
only sweet thing left.
Yeah. So that was probably smart.
All right, round 7. What are you taking, Michael?
I don't like these picks either.
The pictures didn't help either. Like reading the description of what was left, like no, the pictures like that dropped them on my board.
But of the 3 left, the obvious choice to me is Iowa State's super sour cream, super lettuce heavy green chili walking taco. That's like the most Midwest looking thing. Let's put a smattering of Doritos in there, and I think there's jalapeno somewhere. But we're going to add an entire ice cream scoop of sour cream and half a head of iceberg lettuce. So I'm picking that one though.
All right,
with all the trash I just talked about it.
Okay, so there are 2 items left. Are we just going to cut this last item just like nobody gets it, or do we like does it default to you?
Yeah, because then that would put me with an extra. Okay. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe we cut it. Because I think
Start
that would
bench
say
cut. Just we're starting at everything else, but cutting this. Okay.
What are the 2 things left? Let's just
the Cowtown loaded tots from TCU and the Big 12 dog last on the list. Here's the thing. I have a lot of brisket on my menu already. So I'm already kind of hesitant. I also have corn and black bean salsa on my list from the Houston tacos. The purple sour cream does not help its point. However, the Big 12 dog looks like straight trash. So give me the TCU tots. And I'm flushing the Big 12 dog.
Sorry, got a little choked up there. Yeah, the
picture is just bad.
Oh, well, okay. The Cowtown loaded tots would have been a top 2-3 pick for me if not for the purple sour cream. And
that's what I'm saying.
That was when I was talking about earlier, where it confirmed everything. I was like, I'm so right about this being wrong. It was so validating to see that purple crap on top of what looks like perfectly delicious loaded tots.
I know. And okay. Fried tater tots, spicy queso, chopped house smoked brisket. You can stop there, but they added corn and black bean salsa. And then topped with horn frog purple sour cream. Like, what are we doing?
No, what are we doing? And in the Big 12 dog, there's just too much. There's like sauteed bell pepper. There's
also purple red cabbage, but
what did they call it? Spicy cheese. Let me see. Spicy cheese sauce. It's nacho cheese. It is that gourmet gold nacho cheese.
Yeah.
And it just does not look very good, but you still picked that over. No, you picked the tots. Oh my god.
I did. I picked the tots over the Big 12 dog. It, like you said, it feels like it's trying to be too much. Like you were like, let's do a Chicago dog and then add other things. It's like
was it trying to do everything? They should have put you know what they should have done? Okay, I have two things, but they tie together. Where are the nachos? There should be a nacho.
Who would, but like for who though?
Here's where I'm going.
So Houston, maybe?
It would be the Big 12 nachos. And if the goal is to try to get like a little bit of everybody. So you've got, put some pepperoni on.
No, you can't do pepperoni nachos.
Just in the corner. Don't worry about that little guy. Just a little straight couple pepperonis over there, and with some peanut butter and jelly that you could on the side that you could dip a nacho in. Some brisket, a lot of brisket, just actual Dr. Pepper. Just poured over the top.
I think a Dr. Pepper. Going back to your point about the Baylor brisket slider, a Dr. Pepper glazed pulled pork would probably slap.
That would be it, man. That would be 1 or 2 for me. I might have even picked that over the Texas Tech, the Master Rabbit burger.
Gauchos say the purple sour cream is just sour cream. Find a new slant. I still picked him over the Big 12 dog. All right. Y'all let us know.
Put the purple sour cream in the walking taco.
That.
I wonder how many people are
I'm glad
to
you
call
took that though. I'm glad you took
call
that.
their doctor after they eat that. Something's not right.
I don't feel right. Well, what'd you eat?
Things don't look right, Doc.
Well, I have some answers for you.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all let us know. Did Michael's selection of the Tech Red Raider Burger, BYU Cosmo Churro, the loaded baked potato, the fried PB&J, the pepperoni roll, Cincy cheese coney, and the walking taco outdo my menu of the Baylor brisket slider, the Oklahoma State orange power pizza, the Shasta brisket taco, the KU loaded mac and cheese, the onion burger from Oklahoma, the UCF citronaut float, and the TCU tots. Y'all let us know if there's a clear winner. I think there is. I think Michael loaded up on too many sweets here.
Ah, no, it's good. It's just going to be a long tournament. But we both threw the Big 12 dog in the trash.
Yeah. On the flip side, I loaded up on a lot of black bean and corn salsa and brisket. So one, I would actually take the black bean and corn salsa. I could probably leave. But all right, let's wrap this up with what we learned and get y'all ready for some Longhorn violence on Longhorn baseball. I was going to say Longhorn baseball. I don't want you to get ready for Longhorn baseball. It's Texas Tech baseball, taking down the Longhorns.
There you go.
So let's get to what we learned.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right. Speaking of dishes, we both, what do we learn this week? Food related.
Food related, yeah.
Because everybody's the food and sports clashing the goal line here. I made carne asada recently, and it was fantastic. It was so good. It was so easy too. I've probably talked about it already, but Meat Church has a great recipe for it. Also, Arnie Tex, if y'all follow him on Facebook, he's got a great recipe too. A little bit of a different take, but so easy. I didn't cut the chuck roast down enough. Like my pieces were a little bit too big. And we're in enough of a time crunch. Like it was, I probably should have let it simmer just a little bit longer, but it was so easy, right? Like you saute your vegetables, you make your little gravy, and then you dump your meat back in there after you've seared it. And then you just simmer for like 3 hours.
Mm.
And then you can put it over rice. Cilantro lime rice is the suggested vehicle here. I just put it into some tortillas and ate it that way. Beans are a must. You can go whole pinto, you can go refried, whatever your fancy is there. But man, carne asada, it's easier than you think it is. It takes a while, but you're not. It's like barbecue. You're not on top of it for that long period of time. So if you haven't had, for whatever reason, haven't had the courage to try making your own carne asada, here's your motivation. Here's your encouragement. Go get you a chuck roast and make it happen.
There you go. And then add some Dr. Pepper to it.
You can probably just drink Dr. Pepper on the side. All right, what'd you learn?
I was in New Mexico this weekend, and we were really busy visiting family and stuff, so we didn't get to go out and eat except once. And a couple of the guys in the Discord gave me some really good recommendations. I wasn't able to get to them because of just the nature of the trip. But my uncle, we met him, and he took us to Los Cuates, which had probably some of the best red chili I've ever had. It was spicy. I mean, it's different. You know, if you've only had Tex-Mex, which I love, what we get is not red chili sauce. It's just a red sauce, and it's good, but it's not spicy at all. And the red chili sauce that I had on my cheese enchilada was spicy, not enough to where it would knock you out of the seat or anything, anyway, so between that and the salsa they had, the salsa legit may have had some sort of Coca-Cola or something in it. It was, I know I've joked a lot about Dr. Pepper this podcast, but it was the most unique salsa I've ever had that they serve with their chips. It was sweet and savory. I don't know if it had guajillo peppers or chipotle or something. It just kind of had like 5 things going on with it, and it was spicy, the kind of spice that hits the back of your throat a little bit, but you can still house a bunch of chips and it's not going to bother you. I just really enjoyed that meal. It was a fantastic meal. Had a pork tamale on it, and it was one of those tamales that was, I mean, it was like as wide as it is tall, and I mean, it was just packed with meat.
Nice.
To where my mom asked me, "What is that?" I was like, "That's a tamale," and I cut into it, and she was looking at like, "I have never seen a tamale look like that." And I thought, "Me neither, really." I think this is I think the one time I had a tamale that was that thick was at Papacitos at like an airport. I think it was massive, almost it looked like a burrito. But anyway,
as much as I
in Albuquerque, I loved it, and I really appreciate my uncle for getting us there.
As much as I rail on New Mexico and green chilies, the red chili dishes they make are pretty good. I was introduced to asado, which is like a stewed, like carne asada, right? Stewed meat, but with a red chili sauce.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite New Mexican dish, hands down. And there was a girl I hired, friend of the show, Keith Patrick knows her, because he worked in her office, or they worked together, excuse me, or at least close enough when she worked at Friendship. She has some family from New Mexico, and her grandmother, whatever, makes asado all the time. It's like, you've got to bring me some asado back. She never did, but
you're still
I
trying.
actually miss it like that. And I'm never in New Mexico long enough to like need to go eat somewhere, on purpose, by the way. But asado is one thing like I could get down on, which, like I said, it's a stewed meat, but it's with a red chili sauce. And it's so good.
Yeah, and pozole is new to me. I had it last summer, like at this buffet thing. We were at a camp deal, and it was just, I've never tried this, and I haven't had it since. Not for lack of trying, I just haven't. But I've thought about it. I don't know how many times since then. I think that's maybe one of my new favorite Mexican dishes, despite not having it but once in the last 8 months.
Yeah. So
yeah, New Mexico food, I salute you. Always so good, and so even though the plate may look the same, just so many different flavors, so many different things they do there. It's a joy. It's a pleasure to sit down to some New Mexico food. Thank you, everyone.
Tone down the green chili, red chili. You can turn that up to 11. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. Got your recap on Gardner-Webb baseball, Oklahoma State, West Virginia basketball, previewing Baylor Bears and Texas baseball. And then obviously what we learned, Big 12 tournament food draft. I think hands down I won this one, but y'all let us know. But that'll do it for us. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch y'all next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.